family. Peace. Mi gente, ¿cómo están? All right, that's what I'm talking about. I was reincarnated to be incarcerated in this cage called flesh. Released on probation only through meditation, but meditation was a Morse code made for men on the other side of the tracks in the arm of a heroine committing heresy against herself, and I was by myself in the womb. Like I was by myself in my tomb. I died free, because I couldn't live life a slave. Now I'm back from the grave in a rage to get mine, because I be divine. Say what? Said I be divine, not just some ebonic line. Check my EKG sign, you see a circle, not a line, because I transcend space and time. I transcend space and time. I transcend space and send space. I sent space back in time. I sent time back home to recline. Ain't a damn thing they can do to hold back me and mine. We keep coming back like Roberta Flack on that Fuji's that old Albie Shore track. Sure, you can kill me on a cross, cut my head off black one time, no real loss, everything comes back. Black two times, better believe that. I'm the same spirit that put Goliath on his back with the stone in my sack. Way back black, now that's three. Three blacks, because the Trinity is back, not just God the Father and God the Son, like Holy Mother is ghosts, somewhere shooting smack. Or belly dancing, butt naked on white supremacy's bloody lap for nickel and dime sacks. Or little glass vials of that white powder crime the cops just can't seem to crack. Talking about they don't know where it comes from. Acting like they don't know where it's at. Just like Uncle Tom, as a matter of fact, because he don't know where he come from. Yes, master? He don't know where he's at. Yes, boss? So we don't know where he's going, master? Going, boss? Gone. Of the days when a blissfully ignorant slave celebrates the chains trapping him in his Socratic cave. As he breaks free out the cave, he can now see that we have always been and we will always be. Even our MCs go back before MCC numerically. That's 12th century AD for age of darkness. But in the dark ages, it wasn't we who were sparkless. We sparked it like an L lit on flames in hell. Kept it bright, kept it right, kept even the Romans real. Because they was on that I shit while we was like 1, 2, 3. Letting them know the deal. We were their light and sun. Son, we were their sages. Now we out here fighting to work for their minimum wages. And outrageous as it sounds, those who bound us adore us as if Osiris' throne were overthrown by young Horus, but they warned us before. Just check psychology texts. Son kills father, Oedipus, Rex, complex, yes. But I was reincarnated to be incarcerated in this cage called flesh. So all the death can do is set me free. It's hot up here. Feel like a melting block of chocolate. All right. CABE is 40 years old, y'all. Give it up for CABE. I'm not even 40 years old yet. That's an accomplishment. I'm close. I'm not there yet, though. But it is so wonderful to be here and to be with folks who are so committed to the work of education and liberation through education and revolution through education and transformation through education and resistance through education that I know so many folks here are about. So give yourselves a round of applause in the spirit of that. Let's kick this off right, okay? Don't get it twisted. That's the work we're here to talk about and to do and to give each other support for. This is church, all right? This is church. It's where we go. Some of us are sicker than others, but we come to actually fellowship and to nurture each other and to support each other and to give each other the energy and the strength and the power and the passion and the enlightenment and the insight that we need to go forward and do the work that we have ahead of us. And so that's what we are here, gathered here today to do. And I want to do something that is a sort of a ritual and that will invite you to be a part of this. I'm going to share some poetry. I hope that's okay. Some of my own, some of my other folks. Most of the work that I have been most excited about has been not only in the schools but in the prisons. For the last 10 years, I've been teaching teenagers at Rikers Island. I'm a professor at NYU, but I also take college students and graduate students into Rikers Island, the largest penal colony in the world. 12 to 13,000 people there right now. During any given year, 4,000 to 5,000 are teenagers. All right, 16 to 19-year-olds. Young, mostly black and Latino males in the facility. And a lot of folks will say, the system is broken. The system is broken. I start from a different place. I start from a place that says, actually, the system may not be broken. It may be doing exactly what it was designed to do. And if we start from that place, there's a different set of assumptions that we have to take into the work. In my state, I'm from Brooklyn. You know, in my state, in New York State, the public schools get about $14,000 to $15,000 a year per student. Rikers Island, to incarcerate somebody, as of last October, $167,000 a year to keep somebody locked up. So we've decided where we're going to put our priorities. We've decided where we're going to put our investment. And so we have to figure out actually how to undo that work. All right, because I don't think it's by chance, I think it's by design, and so we have to figure out how we can put our heads together to actually push things in a different direction. But I'm excited because this moment is full of possibility where folks are thinking and talking about challenging the system as it is and moving in another direction. And so that's the spirit that I want to share some of this work, some of this art in. But first I want to call on the spirit of our ancestors. So I need to hear, is this the livest side of the room over here? Make some noise if this is the livest side of the room. They on fire. Okay, everybody over here who don't know what the hell they talking about, y'all are the livest side of the room. Make some noise over here. Make some noise. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to put it to a test because that was pretty close, all right? So here it goes. This is your part, all right? And it is participatory education. We're going to demonstrate the things that we're actually talking about doing in our classrooms, right? So I need everybody over here, when I say, I know they watching, I need you to say, ancestors watching. Can you do that? Yeah. Okay. I know they watching. Over here, can y'all be louder than them? I'm going to say, I know they watching. I need you to say, I know. You got it? I know they watching. I know. Okay, now we're going to really test it out. We're going to go back and forth, all right? We're going to do it 4 times. You can put a hand clap in there, all right? All right, if you don't know, hold up, not yet. Some folks jumping the gun, y'all ready, all right? I like that. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a rhythm to it. If you're rhythmically challenged, you like dance to the words instead of the beat usually, it's okay. Just look to your left, to your right, figure out where the one is and just jump in, all right? So it goes like this. I know they watching, ancestors watching. I know they watching, I know. Come on. I know they watching. I know they watching, I know. I know they watching, ancestors watching. I know they watching, I know. I know they watching, ancestors watching. I know they watching, I know. Not bad. Give yourselves a round of applause, all right? Now, I'm going to sneak up on you with that at any given moment. And you got to just be ready, all right? So I'm making sure who's focused and who's paying attention, all right? The world ain't the way it's supposed to be, but I know they watching over me. Trouble keep coming close to me, but I know they watching over me. I know they watching, ancestors watching. I know they watching, I know. I know they watching, ancestors. I know they watching, I know. I know they watching, ancestors watching. I know they watching, I know. Come on, I know they watching, ancestors watch. I know they watching, I know. I know. Give yourselves a round of applause. I think we are ready to get into this conference. I really do. So I want to share a piece. I recorded that song, Ancestors Watching. It's online somewhere on YouTube, with these 2 sisters who are amazing poets. They have a group called Climbing Poetry. Naima Penniman and Alixa Garcia. Alixa is from Colombia. She did her verses in English and Spanish. And I want to share just a little something from their book because it's one of the many inspirations in the work that I do. I had an experience where, I've done a lot of work in California. California, just by way of information, there's a lot of changes happening obviously in schools, but also in the prisons. So it's a ripe opportunity for us to really be engaged, be focused, and to pull together our resources for the work. But, between 1965, 1975, the sort of height of political activism in California, and in the country in many ways, civil rights movement, there were no prisons built in the state of California. Between 1975 and 1985, more prisons than in 100 years prior were built in the state of California. Heavy stuff, So I've traveled to about half the states in the country doing work in prisons and in schools. And one experience I had in Ohio was the first time I was in a correctional facility, a youth facility, Clark County Juvenile Detention Center, where actually it was mostly white. So this beast, this machine, the prison industrial complex, mass incarceration, is expanded so big that it's chewing up everybody in different ways. White folks living behind gated communities more than ever before. All of our tax dollars going to build more and more prisons to hire more police. And we're seeing what's happening with that. So I went to this one facility, and it was I'll never forget this. I went on a Monday. I brought in faculty from university to come in, and there was this 15-year-old kid, James Kalinowski, who was sentenced to 98 days. And I did a performance, I did a workshop, and I said, I'm coming back on Wednesday, and when I come back on Wednesday, we're going to have a poetry slam. We're having a poetry slam, I believe, here in a couple of days, or tomorrow, I think even. So James was so excited, he requested to stay a 99th day to participate in the poetry slam. And then he won. So he left with the wind at his back and a whole new relationship to language and literacy and his own power and agency. And I think if a 15-year-old kid in Ohio who's locked up can make a connection with a brother from, Brooklyn, New York, and find ways to actually find our common humanity through poetry and language and learning and education in that space, then I think so much more is possible. So that's part of what poetry means to me. I want to share this piece by Alixa Garcia to bring another spin, another energy to it. And I wouldn't say it's exactly a rated R poem, but it's suggestive, and so your 4 or 5-year-old might want to cover their ears. No, I'm only kidding. You'll be fine. But it's I think brings some of the passion to poetry that I want, and to art that I want to share. It's called "Let Me Make Art to You." Sweet moonshine on my lips, with you inside my sacred, leaving nectar for the bees. You take me home, where I was orphaned, bring me down on both my knees so I can take a better look at where the earth begins. It's there that I've tattooed the way we love. Constellations make bedding for my dreams. When you are far and flying, it's there that we shall meet. Stir the birds inside my chest, not even they would fly south if the warmth of your love is there to breathe the soliloquy of spring, sung to guide their migrating wings. Sweet moonshine, let me make art to you. Stroke 10,000 days inside your ribs. I'll give you wild horses, reckless against your sunset hips. And still, in the stillness of darkness, I'll unearth the forest for all our doings, because I've met you every lifetime I've ever lived. Alixa Garcia. Beautiful work, and I think we have to come from the work from a place of love, as Che Guevara reminds us, right, that's where a true revolutionary begins their work, in a place of love. And so I want to share one more piece, and I want to share this piece, thanking Francisca Sanchez, who's been a huge supporter and a creator of so much of this. I want to give her a big round of applause for just being such a phenomenon and such a force of nature in all of this. We had the opportunity to collaborate with the regional directors for arts education throughout the state of California a couple years back, and part of what we brought into the conversation was the idea of culturally and linguistically responsive pedagogy. And I'm kind of closing with this here. Yes, give it up. So Marguerite Van Wingard, who's a superintendent of Albany City Schools, talks about the 4 R's, the 4R theory of culturally responsive pedagogy. And she basically says there's 4 things that we should be thinking about. So I want to share these 4 things to kind of influence us and to sort of have in our minds as we go throughout the conference. 4 R's. The first R, she says, is relationship. How do we think about our relationship with our teachers, with our students in a way that goes beyond just the sort of perfunctory obligations that are required of us in the classroom? How do we think about our students and our relationships in the classroom that's going beyond that? I like to think about the Buddhist idea for this, and really to think about the idea that the separation, the disconnect that divides between us are an illusion. And actually the reality is our interconnectedness. So what if we approached our relationships with that fundamental difference in our understanding? The idea that we are fundamentally connected, we're breathing the same air, we're drinking the same water, we're part of the same organism. If we had relationships, if we created relationships that function in that way, how would that transform our classrooms, our schools, our approach to education? First R is relationship. The second and third R's are connected. Respect and responsibility. What if we respected each other as if we were truly, deeply responsible for each other, for our students, for our peers, for our colleagues? Not responsible out of obligation alone, but responsible in the way that you're responsible for the things that are most dear and most sacred to you. The last R is relevance. Relevance. And for all those fans of Paulo Freire and Augusto Boal, folks who worship at the temple of theater of the oppressed and pedagogy of the oppressed and challenge the banking concept of education every day in their work and think about how to be more participatory and interactive in our work and engaging and understand that every good teacher has to also be a good student so that every good student can also be a good teacher, because nobody knows everything, but everybody knows something. And so relevance says, what if how we teach and what we teach is just as important as who we teach? Who we teach matters. We're not making Xerox copies from 1975 when CABE was started and handing them out and calling that a curriculum. That is not education, all right? All right, we know that's not education. So these are some of the fundamental questions we want to ask. And the final spin on that I want to throw before I share my last piece with you all is, what if we looked at our students as if on our students was the face of God? What if every student in your classroom you saw as having the face of God? How would that change the way you approach what happens in the classroom? So I want to share this one last piece. I want to encourage you to follow me on Twitter, Bryonn Bain. My name's in the program, and my website's lyricsfromlockdown.com. I have a hip-hop theater, spoken word production. I've been touring with Harry Belafonte as the executive producer. I got to say that because I know he's a peer of Rita Moreno, who is here, who's excited about that. Give it up, all right? So this last piece I want to share is, it's in my book, The Prophet Returns, which is not here, but it's online. You can find it. And just given how much violence there's been, this homeless man was just killed in LA this week. We've seen stuff happening around the country, the stuff happening with ISIS. It's amazing times and scary times. And so I want to end with this idea. Muhammad Ali was approached at Ground Zero shortly after 9/11, and a reporter had the nerve to say to him, how do you feel sharing the same faith? Muhammad Ali's a Muslim. Sharing the same faith as the people who did this. And Ali, he's not what he used to be, but this champ still came back with a good one too. He said, he looked at the reporter and he said, how do you feel sharing the same faith as Hitler? And the reporter tucked his tail between his legs and got in his truck and drove away, as well he should, because we understand that the folks at the extremes who are doing this craziness in the world are not the heart and soul of any of our communities, right? And so we come together to bring the best of our communities, to inspire and to see the humanity in each other, in our work. And this piece, yes, you can applaud that. You can applaud humanity. Because we know the systems of racism and sexism and homophobia and class oppression are systems that dehumanize us. And so we want to say Black Lives Matter. We want to say trans lives matter. We want to say queer lives matter. We want to say that our young folks' lives matter. All of these things matter, and it matters because we make it a priority in our work. And I don't know what I would have said if I was Ali, but I hope I would have had half of the wit and intellect that he had to respond. And hopefully I would have had something along the lines of this last piece. All I got is some fish and a few loaves of bread. And a whole lot of folks have got to get fed. All I got is some fish and a few loaves of bread and a whole lot of folks to feed. But if 7 seas were made in under 7 days, the first man was forgiven when he misbehaved. If a twig was taken from a tree by a dove to a boat that was built before a flood, if a tower was being built to prove who the man was when suddenly people were speaking in tongues, if someone was told to sacrifice his own son and told to hold up just before he was done, and the fish and the bread that I just said is all that I got, it's all that I need. For me to get fed and for me to feed a whole lot of folks in need. Because they set me on fire. When they look back, I was chilling with my brothers Shadrach and Meshach. I threw down with an angel all through the night. Then I got him to bless me, and I won the fight. And then I had to fight like 10 older brothers for jocking my triple fat goose of many colors. And I had this dream they hated about them bowing to me. So they sold me out to a band of bandits who later on landed near where the water when they was commanded to stop. Drop for blowing this top up into this ship I was in when I got this here fish that I found while fishing around underwater where the daughter of the Pharaoh once found the child who was chosen to force the Pharaoh to free his folks from a foreign land. Will prepare for plagues all across the land. Prepare every woman, prepare every man, prepare every child. All you got is that rod in your hand. All you got is that rod and a guy he don't know. How the hell you gonna get Pharaoh to let us all go? All I got is some fish and a few loaves of bread. And a whole lot of folks have got to get fed. All I got is some fish and a few loaves of bread and a whole lot of folks to feed. But I believe I could part the sea now and then put it back together again. I believe I could kill any giant dead if I believe in my heart. I'd bust him upside him head with a stone that is thrown from the sling. I would cling before we were crowned back, when we were kings, back when we were able to see. Prophecy says a whale is going to save you, son. Just jump in the sea. A holy woman was no hope because she conceived immaculately. And a good baby daddy was something even God could be. We could heal the sick and we could make the blind see. Miracles wasn't profit motivated like the medical industry. We believed in believing. So I believe in belief, and I believe faith could come in the night like a thief and knock out each of uncertainty's teeth and take away all of your disbelief, because the faith that forced Pharaoh to end slavery tells me it's about time my people was free. The faith that outlived leprosy is a faith that will outlive HIV. The faith that won us the presidency is a faith that can make a mountain get up out of bed. Is a faith I believe is able to spread a few little fish and a few loaves of bread to feed all the folks who got to get fed. I believe I can make wine out of tap water. And I believe I can tap, tango, break dance, and walk on water. And I believe the children are the future. We should teach them well and let them lead the way and show them all the beauty they possess inside and give them a sense of pride. And I believe I can fly. I believe I can soar. See me running through that open door. And believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could be so free, but I believe in flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could this be? Who could this be? Believe it or not, it's just me. But believe it or not, I'm just we. And believe it or not, fish that we got and the bread that I said is all that we got. It's all that we need for us to get fed and for us to feed a whole lot of folks in need. Thank you, CABE. Peace.